Joined RNT in January 2021 and I had my photo shoot in September 2021. And after that, I have been in the investment phase and kind of the lifestyle phase. Obviously, it was a new world and started thinking about what to do next. Most of the people that I was with who were in my cohort were mostly focusing on the bulk aspect. I was thinking about all these options, and one of the things is that I love playing sports, and I always have played sports like badminton. One of the things I quickly realized was that you can't be very bulky, just being very strong, but at the same time, not heavy bulking. I started participating in competitive tournaments, and I quickly realized that I have a very good advantage in terms of fitness against all the competition. I have won many tournaments, both on tennis as well as badminton. Big change both internally and externally. So you are a lot more confident about the things that you can and cannot do. So you are more, I would say, aware about your own physical abilities.
Okay, so Yusuf, this is your second appearance on RNT Fitness Radio. Last time we came on and documented your journey to your checkpoint and a little bit of the time after that. But we're now here, nearly 3.5 years later, and you're dominating the world of racket sports and have really nailed a lifestyle solution where you're balancing life as an entrepreneur, a father to young kids, and also you've really nailed how to stay in shape. And most of all, not just in good condition, but in a way that you're in control of your body and your response to food and just generally a healthy lifestyle. So I wanted to bring you on to sort of explore that journey, because a lot of people get lost after their checkpoint or after they lose the weight. And often when they're losing the weight, they're wondering, well, what happens afterwards? How do you make this sustainable? So I'd love to hear if we take it back a little bit. And for those of you who haven't listened to Yusuf's first episode, go and listen to that if you want to listen to the weight loss journey, because you'll hear all about his mathematical spreadsheets, how to be really efficient with your meal prep, but just how to do it with your busy lifestyle. Talk about what happened after your photo shoot. What was where were you as soon as you completed your photo shoot, and what was your goal at that time?
So Akash, first of all, thank you for inviting me to the podcast and giving me the opportunity to share my journey. So I think it's always a pleasure to talk to you. So I have been with RNT for more than 3.5 years now, and into my we'll be finishing my 4th year very soon. So I have been through the whole journey of fat loss, consultation, investment, and the lifestyle solution. So after the photo shoot, which was, so I joined RNT in January 2021, and I had my photo shoot in September 2021. And after that, I have been in the investment phase and the lifestyle phase. So I think initially, obviously, it was a new world. And for the first 6 months, I went into an enjoyment phase, but I really enjoyed the new me, the better, fitter, and new version 2.0 per se. So, but then as things settle down, because obviously one of the good things that happens after the fat loss phase is that you really start enjoying training when you're in your investment phase. So that. Obviously, I always, love doing activities. But during the fat loss phase, I didn't really enjoy training as much as I did and all the activities. But after that, I realized that I really enjoy training again, and started thinking about what to do next. So at that point in time, obviously, there were only very few options which were talked about, right? In terms of what next. So most of the people that I was with who were in my cohort were mostly focusing on the bulk aspect. So they would basically, keep on building muscle in a very serious way. And I think especially, the women, they used to focus on maintaining and staying lean as much as possible. So I mean, and also there was a lean bulk option as well, which a lot of people talked about, but it's something of a misnomer in my opinion, because it's you need to pick one. You can't do both. So obviously, kind of, I was thinking about all these options, and one of the things is that I love playing sports, and I always have played sports. I play all kinds of racket sports, like badminton, tennis, squash, and one of the things I quickly realized was that uh, you can't be very bulky in all these sports. So strength helps a lot, but you need to kind of be, a bit of a lean on a lean kind of mode as well. So that's how I started my goal of being very strong, but at the same time not heavy bulking as such. So so that's what I have been kind of working on after that, and kind of I fine tune my journey, and before RNT, kind of I was not very. I used to play sports once a week, mostly on the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, and used to take the whole week literally to recover until the next game, which I would again play on the Saturday or Sunday. So, but after I came out of the investment phase, I kind of was able to do it almost on a daily basis, on an alternate basis. So I had a very good schedule of playing sports. I got back into being competitive as well because I love competing in everything really, in professional life as well as in sports. Because I really love that competitive attitude, and winning effectively games. It really drives me. So then, obviously, I started participating in competitive tournaments, and I quickly realized that I have a very good advantage in terms of fitness against all the competition. So, initially I started winning games mostly because of endurance and kind of, being the fittest person around. But then obviously, as I got back into it, I regained all my skills as well, slowly, and got seriously into it, and now I've been doing that consistently since last couple of years now. I have won, many tournaments, both on tennis as well as badminton, and now this year I also took up a new challenge with the renewed confidence that I have of doing the 100-mile Ride London Essex, which is happening at the end of May. So so that's another challenge. I never thought I was going to be fit enough to do that before, but now I have the confidence that yes, I can actually do these things.
You got a wild card for Wimbledon as well in there.
Wimbledon, probably the seniors. No, I've gone beyond the age group, unfortunately. To kind of compete in Wimbledon, but yeah. But I mean, the thing is, obviously, when you have a busy lifestyle, you need to be kind of balancing things, right? Because you have your work, you have your family, and then you have the sports as well, right? So with doing this kind of professional tournaments and becoming a professional per se is requires a different level of commitment, which obviously I cannot do.
Yeah. You're running
because I can't do it. It's because it's just a priority thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you're running 3 startups. You got your business, you got young kids, and you got a sports career.
Career, I wouldn't say career. I mean, it's more kind of it's more for fun, obviously.
Yeah,
but I like competing, so I'm not making any money out of it, obviously. So yeah, I can't call it as a professional career.
I mean, jokes aside, have you been interested in sports? Was that a keen interest when you were younger? Because one thing we found is when people lose the weight and they're finally in great shape, all those like sports or activities that they used to do back in the day when they had the energy and were a little bit more youthful, they sort of make a reappearance because now they've got the engine for it. Is that similar to you? Like, was this something that you put on the back burner for a while, or were you sort of knocking about whenever you could before?
Yeah, I mean, I always played sports, and I never actually stopped playing sports. But obviously, kind of the level at which you can play is very different, and it depends on your fitness as well. And since I travel a lot as well, I have a very busy lifestyle. It hasn't always been a priority as such, and I just play whenever I can, and kind of very kind of. But I never used to compete, because competing is a whole different ball game. And if you're competing, then you have to win. I can't just say compete and yeah, just for the sake of it, just do the first round and then just for fun. I can't do that, right? So that's why I don't participate in tournaments unless I know I can win. So, but now that I know I can win, so that's how I started competing.
So let's talk about some of the options. So you talked about, you got the lean builder, you've got the builder, the aggressive, you've got the lifestyle maintainer, and then you've discussed the sports route. Did you try any of the other options? Were you intrigued at all by going down the muscle building route or anything like that? Or were you very set on where you wanted to go? Because I know you said some of the RNTs around you who had reached checkpoints similar times, entered investment, were all pursuing the more aggressive approach.
Yeah, I mean, I am still, very good friends with, ex-RNTers, like, Ricky, Bridge, OP and all that. We have a good group. So obviously, one of the benefits of RNT is the community, right? And now kind of, I've got a very good community as well that I interact with to help me and support me in fitness related activities and goals. So, I mean, one of the good things is that, I have managed to do both in a way, where I have been able to improve my strength, in a massive way, but also stay relatively light for being very quick in terms of moving on the court for tennis and badminton. So I would say that I think strength, muscle, and leanness. I mean, these are very complex. There are so many complex parameters, right? Depending on genetics, your lifestyle, what you've done before, what you want to do in the future. I mean, it's just such a complex equation. So I can't say that I have figured it all out at the moment. But what I can tell you is that, strength. So if you get more muscle, yes, you will get strength. But at the same time, you can develop strength, without putting on a huge amount of muscle as well. And this is because I am able to lift very similar on RDL and on some of the key exercises like squat as some of the aggressive muscle builders, with whom I am on the same journey, even though I am not in that track, if that makes sense.
You're competitive. You're competitive with everyone, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm at the same. Yeah, I'm at a very good level, I would say, in terms of strength gains.
Talk about the balancing element here, because pursuing support, I'm very familiar with how all in you have to be with these things. The practice, the prep, the strength and conditioning, the mental headspace it takes up. How are you balancing that with the other elements of business and family? Like, talk about a general week and how you sort of balance the three whilst still staying fresh and not burning yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy because you have to be very well planned. So if you can plan really well, then it is very much doable. Juggling all these activities. So I've always been good at planning, and that's how I've been able to do it. I mean, one of the key attitudes that you need to understand is that it's not all or nothing approach. So sometimes if I don't feel usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are my weight training days, right? But let's say on some Mondays, if I'm not able to do it, it's not the end of the world. So then I can always do it on a Tuesday, or sometimes if there are meetings or some work came in and I'm not able to go to the gym on certain days. It's not all or nothing approach. You need to be nice to yourself. You need to go easy on yourself, don't be too hard on yourself. And if you're able to, go with that kind of an approach, then I think life becomes much more streamlined and you're able to achieve everything that you want to achieve as well, while balancing everything else out. Similarly, when you're going on socials, when you're going on, different events, etc., and you're traveling a lot as well, so sometimes, you can't be super rigid. I mean, you plan around things, obviously, so when you're traveling, you take your protein, everything, you do everything that you can. but you don't need to obsess over things which are not in your control, right? So if you have that kind of attitude, and you kind of try to do the best you can in all the circumstances that you're in, without putting too much pressure on yourself, and without making all the people around you uncomfortable, or without impacting their lives, then I think you can get the best of both worlds, and that's what I have tried to figure out, and I have been able to do. Of course, like my family, Rashida, she's also in RNT, so it makes it definitely easier because she understands, the journey, and we all plan things which are we are like-minded, right, in that way. So like when we go for a holiday, recently when we went to Italy, we used to walk 25,000 steps every day, and we didn't have any issues. So so that way I think it does help, and planning definitely helps, and going a bit easy on you yourself, basically. That was also a key message, I would say.
Two follow-up questions on that. One is, how do you stay in control when you're in environments like holidays and travel and work events, so your food doesn't completely go off the Richter scale? And the second is, talk about your wife being as a part of the journey, because I think it's such a key part of having a supportive spouse. So talk about how that's helped you, and sort of examples of how life could be difficult if it wasn't the case.
So the thing is, what you need to understand fundamentally is that so your adherence and your compliance to nutrition needs to be very high during the fat loss phase. But when you go into investment phase, there is a huge amount of tolerance, in terms of food. And if you go on holiday, which typically most people will go on either 1 week holidays or a maximum of 2 week holidays, right? So if your maintenance is, for example, let's say 2,500 calories, right, and you eat, let's say, worst case scenario, 1,000 calories a day extra, on a 4-day weekend. So if you look at the calculation, that is just a 0.5 kg weight gain in that week. So it is incredibly difficult to actually get out of shape, on a holiday. It doesn't matter how hard. I mean, you have to try very hard. It's very, very difficult to get out of shape. So, and the opposite is true, when you're on a diet. So to lose, you need a 500 calorie a day deficit. So 1 weekend away can easily throw you out of track. So if you look at the mathematics of how it works, it becomes much easier to manage things once you're in your investment phase. So your weight is like a rocket, when it goes up, but it's like a feather when it comes down, right? But that rocket, is fine. If you for a couple of weeks in a holiday, it's not going to make a big difference because of the way the calories and the calculations work. Yeah, during the investment phase.
What about Rashida being on board? Talk to us about the decision. Did you guys come on together?
No, I think we started. I mean, I joined RNT. The initial objective was to support her, and that's the reason why I joined RNT as well. And we joined together, and we are still both part of RNT community. So definitely, I think it has made a big difference.
What would be hard if she wasn't in the community?
I think the hardest thing would be the awareness, knowledge on nutrition, which comes in because of the process that you go through. So the first element obviously is during the fat loss phase, when you gain a lot of knowledge about nutrition. And then the second aspect is then, you learn more about yourself and how your body behaves, under different conditions. No 2 days are the same, I mean, there are so many parameters, and there's so much of data which keeps on changing, right? In terms of your body, your external circumstances, everything. There's so much of change going on that, all these things are easier to manage if there are less variables. So having being on the same journey together reduces that variables, and that's the reason why it's easier to kind of, manage things a bit better because you're on the same page. Literally, this is, on the RNT page, RNT book page.
Yeah. Talk about your change in identity. What's changed with the way you see yourself now versus say 4 to 5 years ago?
Well, I mean, obviously, kind of, there's a big change both internally and externally. So when you say internally, obviously, like you are a lot more confident about the things that you can and cannot do. So you're more, I would say, aware about your own physical abilities per se. And secondly, kind of, yeah. So like, I remember, there was this one incident, where we lost, we lost the key to our house, and we couldn't get in. And so one of the ideas that I had was, okay, we go around with the neighbors, and then go through from the garden. We would basically access our house. Now I would like that jump. That fence is almost 8 to 10 feet tall. I could never climb that before. But now I know I can do that easily because I was able to do I do it daily in the gym, right? So yeah, you just make decisions very, very quickly, and you are able to get out of situations like that. But I think building the awareness about yourself, it gives you kind of more confidence, obviously internally and externally. I think people also see you differently. So nowadays, whenever I go to friends' parties, etc., people will automatically not offer me sweets or other things, because they know I'm going to say no by default. So everybody, already knows about kind of, the journey that I've been through and my kind of, preference for healthy kind of criterias in terms of nutrition. So there are certain things which nobody is going to question, and people just automatically assume that, yeah, okay, Yusuf is not going to have dessert, so they won't even offer bothering it. I mean, sorry, don't even bother offering it to me. So because they know I won't have it.
And what about in your work? How's that changed?
I would say work, has definitely benefited overall, mostly because I think you have more energy. Your energy levels are higher. So if your energy levels are higher in general, you can kind of, you can positively transform all your interactions, be it professionally or personally, so that change automatically comes and it spills into your professional environment as well, because because you are obviously working harder, you're more positive in all your interactions and conversations, and you just that higher energy level is very, very crucial. I would say, and it helps you in your professional kind of sense as well. Yeah.
In this last sort of 2.5, 3 years, where have you seen the most value from the RNT perspective in terms of the journey? Because losing weight is where most people have their focus in generally in health and fitness. But very few people can crack the ability to stay in shape or stay in a shape that they want to be in year round. Where's the most value been for you after, say, the first year of the journey?
I would say the value has been twofold. One is in terms of, I would say, the accountability that, the program brings, big part of the program. And secondly, the community aspect, where you meet like-minded people and everything. Yeah. So I think those are the two values that I see as being part of the RNT after the fat loss phase.
And where does the accountability keep you in track? Where have you had moments where you think, if I wasn't being held accountable, this would be a death by 1,000 cuts?
So it's always kind of useful to interact with the coaches on a weekly basis. I still get on calls, coaching calls. Even today, I was speaking to Ed just literally before a few hours back. And I had a question. I was asking him about balancing all these different activities because right now I'm doing so many things. I have conflicting priorities. So like I like training, weight training. I really enjoy my tennis training as well. And because I'm doing this 100-mile bike challenge, I have to do training on the bike as well,
It's a lot.
So I was asking Ed, how can I balance all these things? How should I uh, prioritize, like it. And then, there are all these different strategies. Like, so last year, what I did was I did a mini cut, before my tennis tournament. And that really helped me because it made me really fast on the court. And, because I was lighter, and I was able to win that tournament because of, not just this, but many factors combined: fitness, everything, the confidence it gives, everything. So this year, now there are two things where I'm doing the bike challenge at the end of May, and then there's a tennis tournament at the end of June, and I don't have enough time to do a mini cut in the middle. So then, there's a different strategy now that I have to use, because I will have to go with the same kind of, weight range in the tournament, but at the same time, I'm going to increase my cardio, fitness and overall fitness, so I can be as explosive as I was at the lower weight range, even at the higher weight range. So I mean, obviously, these kind of things, it's good always to have a sounding board to discuss, these kind of challenges. I mean, these are more, I would say, first world problems than actual problems, but
Yeah.
but it's still very helpful, to kind of discuss about these things.
Well, I can resonate with that. I mean, we were recording a podcast earlier with it actually around the athletic route of an investor, and we were both talking about our own struggles with balancing. Like for me, it's Muay Thai, running, and weight training. How do I do? And I keep, the problem I keep running into is I get ill every 4 to 6 weeks, or I get injured, and it's purely because I'm just overdoing it, and I'm not. And then obviously there's a business, and then there's a young family, and it's pretending we're athletes when we're trying to live a normal life. So it is a hard challenge, and it is a first world problem, of course. Like we're struggling on how much we can fit all this exercise in. So it is a first world problem, but it's, we enjoy it. So it gives us focus in a period in which, if you don't have that focus, it can be very easy to fall into those bad habits.
Yeah, absolutely, and and then those are the things that kind of, I need to work with, in terms of recovery. Like recovery is always an issue because of all these conflicting priorities, right? So how do you optimize your recovery? And some days I have to consciously take a break, just so that, because one of the key things is that injury prevention, right? Is very, very important. So when to take a break, when to keep training, what to when, what things are complementary, what things are kind of, detrimental, etc. So all these things, this is more, I would say, the fine tuning aspect, of the activities that you're doing, because if you have the basics in place, which is like your nutrition, your training, and your sleep, and all of water and all those things. Right? So once you have the basics in place, then all these are the fine tuning aspects that you need to do, to figure out how to get optimal performance from your body.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's in their weight loss phase right now?
I would say, like, well done. I mean, I think, are they still in their weight loss phase, or they're about to finish their weight loss phase?
Maybe talk to both. If you think they're different, if you think it's different message for each, then please share.
I would say, like the weight loss phase. The funny thing was, like, so my weight loss phase was actually 9 months, and I did the same journey in 6 weeks. This time around in the mini cut. So. So basically, like, what I would say from that experience is that start your weight loss phase when you can be sure that you will be 100% adherent. So be 100% adherent and just get it out of the way, because there's no benefit or value of being, I would say even 85-90% adherence. I just get it out of the way as quickly as possible, and then, get into the consideration and the investment phase, because that is so much more enjoyable. Literally. In fact, I'm now thinking that, I'm only going to do a cut if I know I'm going to be 100. And I mean, I can get into photo shooter stage in 6 weeks, basically. So kind of, at any time. So, and I will only do that if I know that I will be 100% adherent for those 6 weeks, like no exceptions whatsoever, because I don't want to be spending even an extra minute of my time in the fat loss phase.
Yeah, I agree.
Trust me, it's just not worth it. So yeah, anybody who's in the fat loss phase, I would say, like, literally just get it out of the way as soon as possible. I know it's easier said than done, and I went through the same challenges as everybody has been going through. And yeah, hindsight is always better. But yeah, that would be my kind of advice to anybody who's in the fat loss phase, and anybody who is in the consideration phase or the investment phase, like we're getting into there now. I would say, like, that is great. Well done on the achievements so far, and this is a phase where you can reap the rewards and you can enjoy, a particular phase, and figure out. Don't rush into figuring out what you want to do, basically. So just take time, enjoy the process, and then it will come to you. Right? You don't need to rush into it. Things will emerge, which you like doing, and you will get into it. Yeah, it's people will figure it out. Yeah, just don't push yourself into a direction very, very quickly. Yeah.
Amazing. What's next for you, Yusuf?
I still have a few things to figure out, in terms of my lifestyle solution. Primarily, I think one of the things I still haven't figured out is that every year, kind of, we have this month of Ramadan, which is a fasting. So during that month, obviously, like, I don't enjoy training, while fasting and all. So during that month, I go into a kind of a different lifestyle. And then when I come out of it, it takes me a while to get back into it, the training lifestyle. So I'm still trying to figure out how to balance, that period, because that's going to come every year.
Yeah.
So every year I kind of think, okay, I figured it out this year, but when I get into it, it doesn't work how I imagine it will work. So that's one thing I have yet to figure out how to manage. And secondly, I still kind of need to figure out the optimum kind of stage for playing all these tournaments. So my optimum weight level. So, like, obviously last year kind of I did a bit of a mini cut and I played really well. This year I'm not going to do that. So I will see how it goes, and then obviously is the balance somewhere in the middle, or what, kind of what is the optimum kind of lifestyle solution, I think I would say. That's still something which is which I'm still working on at the moment. I mean, I'm not very far from it, I would say, but that's still something I'm figuring out.
Nice. Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing your journey, Yusuf. It's been great to see you evolve over the last few years and turn into the next. Well, I thought, I could say Roger Federer, but you've got the racket sport. I think the racket sport title is the one for you. In all seriousness, it's really cool to see it happen. And there's not many people playing the tournaments that you're playing, the longevity in the game, because tennis, I used to play tennis a lot when I was younger, and some of these matches can be grueling. So it's no joke to be out on the court for hours at a time at tournaments. So fair play, and it's really good to see you do it, and then now go on to doing 100-mile bike rides, testing the body and the mind to see what it's capable of.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Akash. And I look forward to figuring out things myself and see where I can take this, and how hard I can push myself. Obviously, given time is always against us.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think I really enjoyed this journey so far. There's still a long road to go. So
amazing.
Let's see where it takes us.